Yo, what is up, everybody? Mobogsly here, back at it again with another Flesh and Blood video talking about Worlds. Not just about Worlds, what I would bring to Worlds in Blitz if it was today. So, Worlds has Blitz this time around. Well, first ever Worlds, but still, Worlds has Blitz. And let's talk about it. So, I am qualified for Worlds with a PTI. I'm currently 52nd on limited, trying to get that number down to like 50 so I get my invite through limited play. But I have a PTI, so I will be going to Worlds no matter what. And if I was at Worlds right now, this is the Kano deck I would bring. Let's go over it. So, this deck is very similar to the deck that I got second place at Battle Hardened, New Jersey, which I believe is one of the larger Battle Hardens ever. It was like 700 people. 10 rounds of Blitz. It was a ton of fun. But the format's changed. The format's got better. It's got healthier. This is a really fun and open format. And this deck is trying to target all of those ranges, all of those decks, and really just try to be the best Kano deck out there. Now, Kano has 2 to 3 different ways you can build it right now. You can go the Arsenal Pass strategy with Ragamuffin's Hat, a bunch of zero costs, try to get that kill most consistently, not really worried about doing Kano things, just worrying about getting the kill. You can go a build like mine, which is a good main mid-rangey tempo plan where you're trying to hold tempo, but you can also explode at a moment's notice on any mistakes your opponents might make. Once a mistake, game's over. This deck also works very well for pitch stacking. It can do pitch stacking, it can do tempo, it can do just kill you. This deck is very versatile in what it can do. Or you can build a super control-y pitch stack version with, a lot of defensive cards. I don't think that deck is very good right now, but I do believe there's 3 different ways to play and build Kano currently. That's why I love Kano, because every Kano deck is different because it is built by the person playing the deck. You can customize this deck, add cards you like, add cards you don't like. I'm going to go over why I think this is the best Kano deck currently out there in Blitz and why I got second at the 69-player Skirmish yesterday, 2 days ago. But I think this deck is really good. I've put about 1,000 games into Kano. I shuffle all day at my desk. I just draw cards off Kano and just, see what I can do. Okay, so first and foremost, this deck list is 5 cards off of my last list. And let's go over the 5 changed cards. Number 1. I think it's 5. Yeah. Number 1, Aether Dart. Aether Dart is just a strictly better Zap. Zap is a good card, but Aether Dart can target anything. So when you're playing against the one-off Dromais, you can maybe kill some of their dragons. Listen, I don't think Dromai is a bad matchup personally. However, it's nice to have something that can kill some of their dragons with lower health. So to fit these in, I took out 1 Potion of Deja Vu because I think the meta is getting faster. The meta is more aggressive, and you need to be able to set those turns up, 1, quickly, but 2, Potion of Deja Vu does not block. So if you're in a situation where you need the block, Potion is not going to be able to do that for you. It's great against those Guardians. It's great against those mid-rangey decks like Kasai when you have the time to set up. But against these aggro decks, the meta is currently a little bit too fast for 2 Potions of Deja Vu, so I cut it back down to 1. Very good card. You can still play 2. I'm more comfortable at 1 because at 1 you still have 4 no blocks in the deck, and 4 no blocks is still a lot. The other card we cut 1 Zap. Zap is good. It costs 0. It deals 1. It's the bread and butter. It's a good card. Don't get me wrong. But this deck list, in my opinion, is so tight on what you can change. I think that was the best card to cut. That's a personal preference. If you want to cut an Emolier's Scolding because you don't like the card, you can cut it. Personally, I think Zap is the best card because it is always fine. But cards like Scolding are better against the Guardian players and stuff like that, where Zap just feels really bad in certain matchups. So yeah, that's 2 of the cards I've changed. And the other 2 is Equipment. Now, these are the cards that really pushed Kano even higher to the top. I pretty much already thought Kano was an A deck, A+ deck, maybe even S deck in the previous meta. Now with getting access to Waning Moon, let me tell you, this card is busted. And Crown of Providence, an equipment that blocks. We can get rid of a bad Arsenal slot. We can just block, get rid of a red, hopefully draw blue. This card is really good in the certain matchups. I don't think you play it against everything. I think it's mainly against Prism and Benji that this comes in. Maybe a KO. Probably KO, Benji, Prism. Some of like the off-meta decks But I think you do need to respect those 3 decks, and because of that, I think this card is amazing in Kano. And the last deck we played is obviously Constella's. This card breaks the Kano and Icelander mirror open. I believe Icelander was probably 70-30 them favored before the set came out. Doing a lot of play testing against people I know, I think this matchup is closer to 50-50 nowadays. Honestly, because of Constella's plus Waning Moon, we can be more defensive, but also still get chip damage in here and there. It might actually still be like 60-40 them being favored, but we definitely got a lot of percentage points back because of those 2 cards alone. So let's go over the list. I made a whole longer in-depth video on this deck list a few months ago once I got second at Battle Hardened. So I think the strategy is basically the same. You're just trying to hold on to tempo, get your chip damage in when you can, pitch stack when you can, and set up these massive turns where they lose even if they have 4 blues in hand. Obviously, they'll never always have 4 blues because they're also trying to kill you. So Kano is a deck that is trying to prey on weakness in opponents' hands. Read their poker faces, because a lot of times you can look at it and be like, do you got a blue? Do you got a blue? And they might crack a smile and be like, oh, he's on to me. So Kano's a great deck. You can just, it's so much fun. But yeah, so this deck is the exact same besides those 5 cards. You are trying to get your chip damage in early, arsenaling one of the kill conditions, which is more than likely Aether Wildfire. This is still the best card in your deck. Early on, like turn 1, I would rather pitch this to the bottom than to block with it. I would rather just keep it in hand than to block with it, get that arsenal. This card is so high value. Sometimes you do play it as a 3 for 5 on your turn with your staff activation to give it +1 attack. Sometimes it's a 3 for 5. Guess what? A 3 for 5 in Kano, still really good because we're playing cards like Voltic Bolt. Like this is a 3 for 6. A 3 for 5 is just still always good. An Aether Wildfire having that like text box that also says it does more stuff. French Kiss. I love this card. Voltic Bolt. I love all of the cards in this deck are in there for a reason. And let's just slow down, take a step back. Maybe you didn't watch the last video. Let's go over why. Aether Flare. This buffs up the next card you play. It is very good to play on your turn. Normally you want to start this card off by going activate Kano, hit any spell, play Aether Flare for 2 mana because you spend 1 on your staff, 1 on this. So you come in for 4. If they take 4, they're taking 4 more on the card you've already revealed off of Kano. If they don't take the 4, they're still taking damage off the card you already revealed. This card is great at making choke points, great at making them pitch cards early, and then you getting all the tempo. Most of these cards have on hits that if they do not block it, you get tempo, you leak damage, you get a good time. And we're here for a good time. Not a long time. We're here for a good time. Aether Spindle, same effect. This is a 3 for 5. For the record, whenever you look at any Kano card, add 1 to that cost because more than likely you want to activate Crucible of Aether Weave. So just always make it cost 1 less. 1 more, I mean. Always make it cost 1 more because you're almost always activating Crucible if you can. So just add 1 damage, add 1 cost to everything you do. Aether Spindle costs 3. It deals 5. It has an on hit that if it hits your opponent, it basically says stack the top of your deck with only blues, draw those blues, and then just kill them on their turn. That's really good. Turns out. Aether Wildfire, buy extended art of this card. It is beautiful, and your opponents will be more sad when you Aether Wildfire them to death. Blazing Aether. This card is really good. It used to be the key arsenal slot in my opinion, but now the key arsenal slot is Aether Wildfire. However, Blazing Aether is a great combo card. Sometimes you get it early and it just does like 2 damage for 0. But like if this does any damage for 0, this is just value. Seeing this off the top, as long as you can banish another card off the top, is fine because it costs 0. So you'll always have those extra resources to play it because it costs 0. Next up is Scolding. Scolding is a 1 of, and this is a card that I love and I hate. It's a 2 for 5, just like Aether Wildfire, so that automatically means it's a playable card. 3 for 5s are great. It's a 3 for 7 if you hit this off the top. Oh, baby, if you're playing against an old him and you're like, activate Kano, 3 for 7, you're definitely getting some cards and leaking some damage no matter what, almost always. This card is great for the pitch stacking turns, where you pitch stack 4 blues, and then you pitch this, like a Sonic Boom into this. So you Sonic Boom them for 5, and then you automatically hit this for 7 more What do? They lose. This card's great. It's a one of though because it is expensive and it is a red. So you can only play so many expensive reds. Forked Lightning is a card that I always want to cut. It costs 4 because you want to activate staff. It costs 5 because let's be honest, you really want to pop your Metacarpus node on this turn. 5 for 10 is good. It's a really good card, but it's really expensive. And this card is Sonic Boom's best friend. If you can get a Sonic Boom off for 5 because you activate your Crucible and your node and this is below it, insane turn. Forked Lightning is the combo card that Kanos want one of, so they can kill those Guardians easier and just get these insane off the top plays that your opponents are like, yo, that Kano player just did like 47 damage to me. I'm so tilted. And you're like, yeah, I did. Because of Forked Lightning and Sonic Boom and Aether Wildfire all on the same turn. French Kiss. Oh my God, I don't know why I'm in love with French Kiss today. But let me just tell you. I meant Chef's Kiss. Why am I saying French Kiss? I'm weird, okay? Listen, I'm weird. I'm running on low sleep today, but I'm excited for Kano. Next up is Reverberate. This is one of the best cards in the deck, in my opinion. I'm going to say that about every single card because every single card in Kano is just that strong, and I think every card has earned its spot. This card off the top lets you basically get another Storm Shard's activation because you can play a card from your hand. It's really good with stuff like Tome of Aetherwind or just normal cards like Lesson in Lava, Sonic Boom. Basically, any card in your deck, you are excited to play off of this. This card is a relevant on hit that makes them pitch a blue and a red or a yellow because it's going to deal 4. And dealing 4 is just such a nice break point, and it's going to get you tempo. All of my reds get you tempo, besides, I guess, Voltic Bolt, Forked Lightning, and Scolding. But those cards are such high damage that I don't need tempo at that point because you have to block it. Next up is Tome of Aetherwind, and this is a card that a lot of people misplay. This has 2 modes, guys. Don't forget, you can buff your next arcane damage by 1 twice. If you hit a Tome of the Aetherwind off the top and you have a Forked Lightning in your hand, that's 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1 with the node. That is 2, 4, 5, 6. That's 12 damage right there. Insanity. Like, that card is so good. Let me just tell you, there's so many good combos in this deck that honestly, get your Kano deck. I have mine right here. I'm not even joking. My Kano deck is right here. Get it, shuffle, draw hands. I do this all the time. Just draw 4 cards and go, what can I do with these 4 cards? What is the best combo that I can get with these 4 cards? And just do this. Just draw your 4 cards. This is my CC deck. That's why blue Singe is in there. But just shuffle, draw a hand, and just see what the best combo you can do. Get some blind Kano flips in there. Try to pitch stack in your free time, and you'll be so much better at Kano. Next up is Voltic Bolt. This card is a very small text box. It's a card that I always want to cut, but at the end of the day, it is a 2 for 5 or a 3 for 6. Pitching 1 blue, like blocking with 2 of your cards, pitching a blue, hitting them for 6 is just such a good turn that I can never cut this card because a 3 for 6 is just insane. Next up is One Chain Lightning. This is the card I always look at, and it's always just good, but it's never a 2 of. If this was like a blue or a red, it could be a 2 of, but being a yellow just makes it a little bit clunky in the deck. And it's a perfect 1 of because if you hit it off the top, you can just cheat some nasty stuff on your opponent's turn that you normally should not be able to do. I like this card. This is a great 1 of. Next up is the hardest card in the deck to play, Lesson in Lava. Every time I have this in my hand, every time I hit it off the top, there are every single line of the deck that you can go through. 1, is it worth shuffling your deck? Is your pitch stack that good? 2, what do I get? Do I just get Lesson in Lava into Blazing Aether, or do I get Forked Lightning? Do I get Aether Wildfire to Arsenal next turn? This card has so many opportunities. You could even just get Tome of Aetherwind to draw 2 cards and hopefully still combo off. You can get Gaze of Ages just to play it and opt 2. Like this. Let me just tell you, Lesson has a lot of opportunities and a lot of ways to win games that you really should not be winning. This card is so hard to play, and I love it because of that. Next up is Sonic Boom. Card's good. It's got 4 non-hits in the deck, being Energy Potion ×2, Eye of Ophidia, and Potion of Deja Vu. Oh, actually, my bad. 6 non-hits because it doesn't hit off Tome of Findel. 6 non-hits is a lot, but you have a lot of ways to make that variance more on your side with blanking on the name right now because I'm bad at the game. Aether Spindle. So like Aether Spindle, and your headpiece all lets you opt. So you can make this variance better and you can set up some insane turns by pitch stacking. If you pitch a Sonic Boom into any red, just remember that pitch stack and you'll have a good time. Next up is Tome to Findel. One of the better ways to beat the aggro decks. If you can get this in Arsenal, have Tunic on 3, not block for a turn, remove that counter off Tunic, play it, gain 6 life, draw 2 cards, gaining 6, drawing 2, playing off the top for the rest of the turn. Tome is always good. I'm always happy to see Tome. Next up is Aether Art. Most of the blues are kind of boring. I'm not going to lie. The blues are the cards you have to play, and they're not super exciting. Aether Dart is one of them. It's a 0 for 1. It's fine. Aether Flare, same thing. Blue Aether Flare is not super exciting. It can get you some extra damage. If you get this off the top and then play into any other card, it will like double its damage basically because it buffs up the next one if they don't block it. And because of it, you just want this card. Next up is Blue Scolding. And Blue Scolding is one of those cards I wish I could cut because on average it's a 2 for 3. But a 2 for 3 is still just fine in the blue. It blocks for 3. It could be a 2 for 4, a 2 for 5. This card is just good. I like it. Energy Potion. Oh man, Energy Potion is so good. Listen, potions in Flesh and Blood are secretly really good, but we just don't know how to use them yet, is my honest opinion. I think every potion that they have printed has a home somewhere. We just need to figure out where. Because the more potions I have on the battlefield this Kano, the more it feels like I'm winning this game no matter what my opponent does. And that's a better spot to be in. If I have 2 energy potions out, I feel invincible. I feel like a god. Like, it feels so good to have 2 energy potions out and a counter on Tunic. That's 5 free resources just sitting there. If you draw 4 blues, that's like 17 resources you have just sitting there. Do you know how much fun stuff you can do with 17 resources in Kano? It's a lot. Next up is Eye of Ophidia. If you can't afford up Eye of Ophidia, it's okay. You can literally replace it with any other blue. I would suggest a Potion of Deja Vu for extra setup. But you can just play another Zap. Eye of Ophidia is a really good card. It helps you win games you shouldn't, but it also loses you games you shouldn't lose because you cannot block. So this card is good. This card's really fun to play. But if you don't have it, it's fine. No big deal. Gaze the Ages is basically Eye of Ophidia Light, where it doesn't activate when you pitch it. It activates when you play it. And being able to play this Opt 2 and then get it back to your hand just feels fine. Like, this card is always good to see. I've dug this up with Lesson in Lava so much just for the free Opt 2 that this card is just great. I like this card a lot. Next up is Potion of Deja Vu. Probably the second, if not the first hardest card in the deck to play outside of Lesson in Lava. Every time you have Potion of Deja Vu in play, you have so many lines how you can pitch stack top of your deck. If you just pitched 4 blues, throw 4 blues back on top of your deck to redraw those 4 blues. This card is so much fun. I wish more classes played this card because it makes the games so much more interesting when you have a Potion of Deja Vu out. I love this card. I really want to fit 2 back in here. I hope the meta slows down. Next up is Blue Reverberate. This is the same thing with Red Reverberate. This card's just bonkers when it hits. It's a blue must block, and blue must blocks are very rare, but this is one of the few that if they do not block this, you could just combo off with a Gaze the Ages, another Reverberate, a Tome of Aetherwind, a Lesson in Lava. This card hits most of the big bombs in your deck anyways, so it's a one that must be blocked. Voltic Bolt Blue, again, it's nothing fancy. It's a card I wish I could cut, but a 2 for 3 that blocks for 3 that's also a blue is fine. Nothing to say here. Same with Zap. Zap and Aether Dart cover the same bases. Now let's go to the equipment. Crucible is the card you'll be playing in 99% of the matches, unless it's the mirror match or Icelander, in which case you bring in Waning Moon. It's just better. Split damage is really good. Split damage that is free is really good. You get more value off Waning Moon than you do off of Crucible. Next up is Costello's. You only play this against Icelander and Kano, big surprise. Being able to pitch a blue, prevent their on hits, and getting that resource to save for later, it's good. It's kind of like when you're 5 and you're putting that money into the piggy bank and you're like, here, a nickel, here, a nickel. And then when you turn 6, you had like $25 in change. You're like, wow, that's worth saving up. That's how I feel like to play Constellus. I think the early games of Kano v Kano and Kano v Icelander is almost a game of chicken because you don't want to give your opponent the free Constellus first. So you're just kind of like slowly fighting for value off of potions and just stuff like that. It's kind of interesting, to be honest. Next up is Cracker Jacks. I don't need to explain why this card is in the deck because it's just that good. Like, Cracker Jacks is probably the best arms in the set, best arms in the game. Play Cracker Jacks. You know why it's in the deck, guys. I don't need to dumb this down for you. Crown of Providence, I went over earlier. It's a headpiece that blocks and has more upside than Skullcap. So it's in the deck. It's really good. Findle Spring Tunic. You play this card in every matchup besides Kano and Icelander. This card is insane. Try to remove the counter ASAP unless you know the combo turn is going to be before you can get the next counter. So like on turn 3, it's pretty safe to remove the counter. On turn 6, I'd probably save that counter. This nets about 2 to 3 resources per game unless something crazy happens like a turn 1 or 2 kill. Next up is Gambler's Gloves. And I'm not going to lie, this is one of my, if not my favorite arts in the game. I love Gambler's Gloves. I only played against KO. There's not many KOs out there, but I don't want to get killed in one shot by KO, so I want my gloves with me. Next up is Node. This is played in every single matchup outside of KO. It's got AB for those mirrors. It's got a relevant text box. This card is just great. I don't see better arms ever being printed for Kano, to be honest. This makes your breakpoints. This makes your Aether Wildfires. This makes so much of what you're trying to do so much better. Having 2 staffs for 1 turn is really good. Ragmuffin's Hat is actually a card I have not brought in ever. I think this should be replaced with something, but I don't need more equipment slots right now. So Ragmuffin's Hat's kind of just in my sideboard because I have one. I think you're going to replace this with something else if you would like. I'm just not sure what. Stormstriders. Listen, these never come out. These are in your deck every single game. Please, somebody sell me a cold foil of these because I need a cold foil boots in my life. Lastly is Talismanic Lens. This is the headpiece I choose in every matchup if I'm not playing Crown, and I only play Crown against those 3 I said earlier. Talismanic just adds so much control over your combo turns or your big Sonic Boom turns. If you can just stack your deck, it's really good. I like this against Oldhim because a lot of times in these big tournaments, when you're like round 6, round 7, round 8, and you forgot exactly where your pitch stack is, but you know you're in your pitch stack, you can crack this to either A, remind yourself where in the pitch stack you are because it does happen, or B, fix a pitch stack issue that has happened throughout the game due to variance because you can only pitch stack the cards you draw. So if you have a turn where you just want 2 cards not on top of your deck because of your pitch stack, just throw them on the bottom. This card is great. I love this card. Beautiful card. This was a super crash course lesson in the Kano. I have more Kano videos on my channel. Please go give them a watch. Please like this video. Please comment. Please subscribe. It means a lot, honestly. I'm also doing the reaction phase with Josh from Hometown TCG. So go give that a follow. Go subscribe. Go like. And follow me on Twitter because when I go to Worlds, I am pretty set on this list. I might change like 2 to 3 more cards, but I will keep you guys updated to the minute I go to Worlds. And I will be updating this exact deck list on FABTCG, which I will post in the comments below. So thank you guys so much for watching, and go Kano them out. Have a good one.